What's up, everybody? Dan Tortora here of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and very excited to be here with you, hanging out and having some fun inside of this extension of Wake Up Call, a part of Wake Up Call known as Reiss's Pieces. And Reiss's Pieces, R-E-I-S-S, for Tammi Reiss, as she is my co-host, and that is where the Reiss's Pieces name came from, was wanting to do something with Tammi, have these pieces, these segments every other week on Mondays at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, right around then, following the normal broadcast of Wake Up Call, as you know, is Monday through Friday from 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and is on many channels, mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as on WakeUpCallDT.com, and of course here on Facebook, where you are right now with us live on Facebook.com/live-now-DT. So a lot of ways to tune into Wake Up Call's normal schedule, which is Monday through Friday from 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And of course, every other Monday here with Tammi Reiss in Reiss's Pieces, an extension of Wake Up Call at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time every other Monday. So very much appreciate having you all on here, and excited to have this broadcast here with you and have the opportunity to speak with Tammi Reiss. So we'll be looking to have her on. Tammi spent her time at Syracuse as an assistant coach under Coach Q, and went from there a couple of years ago to the Rhode Island Rams to become the women's basketball head coach. And now we have the opportunity, and we're going to do exactly that as we bring her in here, my co-host for Reiss's Pieces, an extension of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So we're looking to bring in Tammi. There she is. We did it. So what's up, Tammi?
Dan, I was trying to get on my computer and do it from my computer, but there's no invite. It won't let me. I don't know why.
Yeah, the computer seems to be frisky with Facebook, but the phone seems to love Facebook. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it just wouldn't let me do it.
So,
but
Tammy's here with us
we'll
today.
Go with the phone.
It's episode 2 of Reiss's Pieces, and we have the opportunity every other Monday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time to join you live on Facebook.com/live-now-DT. Then we put it on to YouTube.com/wakeupcalldt and on WakeUpCallDT.com. So, and our social media. A lot of ways to get involved, a lot of ways to get connected. And Tammi, even though we had to switch up the schedule from last week, I got to honor you as the A10 Coach of the Year. So technically, we haven't missed a beat.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
So bring me into it now that you've had some time to, experience life as the A10 Coach of the Year. Hindsight 2020. What's it feeling like now?
At the time, it was a great honor. It really was. Anytime you're voted by your peers in anything, it's an honor, because you respect they know what you go through as a coach, and you're playing against them. They understand everything that you did. And so they're honoring you. That I respect the most. Fan awards and things like that. A lot of times they just don't understand coaching. They don't. They're a fan. But so for me, this was a really, really special award, and I thank them. I was really honored, really humbled. But I traded in a million years to be playing postseason or to have won an A10 championship. So, individual accolades, not something I try to achieve.
Yeah.
I'd rather win championships and go to postseason than I traded in a heartbeat to be playing right now.
And I respect that, and I appreciate that, Tammi, that you make that statement that you would trade it in to play, because I expect nothing less from you. That's exactly what you would want right now. The women's basketball tournament has gotten started, and the team that you were at right before becoming a head coach with Rhode Island, Coach Q and the team have advanced and will play the likes of UConn. So what are your thoughts on the current women's basketball tournament and where Syracuse is at right now?
Well, obviously, I was really, really excited for the tournament to see some of these matchups and watch Syracuse play yesterday. Played very well, especially in the fourth quarter against South Dakota State. And I thought they found the rhythm and really made some big shots. Emily Enxler was an absolute beast. absolute beast. And in my opinion, she's the best player on that team. She makes them go. I know Tiana gets a lot of accolades for her playmaking abilities and assists, and I know Cardoza is big on dominating the paint, but Engstler's versatility is key. She can do it all. She can pass, she can dribble, she can rebound, she can shoot the three, she can score in the paint, and she can defend. And so Q's got a beautiful piece in her that she's kind of that cog that can make everything tick. And she was a beast mode yesterday. And now, after watching UConn dismantle their game, their opponent, it's going to be an absolute dream to watch Cuse and UConn face head to head and really battle. It'll be interesting with no Gino, no Mule. She got hurt yesterday. No Shea Ralph, and so UConn's got some adversity, but that's what makes them UConn. They just win no matter what. So interesting game tomorrow. Really, really excited for that matchup. But overall, I think there's not a lot of parity in these first couple rounds. So my bracket's pretty much perfect. The men's, I'm busted. It's gone. It's done. I crumpled it up and I threw it away. It's not even funny. Yeah. But the parity, until you get to the Sweet 16, you don't see a whole lot of upsets in women's basketball, which makes it not as exciting.
Yeah.
There's a couple 10-7 matchups that are intriguing, that there could be some upsets. The 10 can actually get to 7. But yesterday, it was pretty cut and dry. You knew what was happening. But I'm really excited for tomorrow to see the Qs play the Huskies and get some redemption in a rematch.
And I talked about this on Wake Up Call this morning, and Reiss's piece is obviously an extension of that. The year of history, first Sweet 16, first Elite Eight, first Final Four, first championship game. The only team that stood in the way was UConn. Let's talk about that year, because that was an incredible year that saw me in my travels. As I said, I was at an airport IHOP watching the game because I was like, I can't miss it. So I was like, wherever I could be, there's a little tiny TV. I'm like, what's going on? I'm checking my phone. So, that was one incredible year.
It truly was. And that was my first year into the program. And I got the pleasure of stepping into a season that had a lot of veterans. And so they played in it. It was an incredible system, X and O-wise, scheme-wise, especially defensively. Our pressing package, it was one of the best. No one wanted to play Syracuse in the country because of that pressing package. There was like 10 different presses. Then you had to contend with the 2-3 zone. And these kids, most of them were seniors and juniors. So they were very experienced in it. And boy, they clicked at the right time. And it was just a magical run. But those kids, again, they had the right system, they had the experience, and they definitely had the talent. Q had some All-Americans on that team that were incredible coming out of high school. And it was a magic ride. That was one of my favorite seasons in basketball, period. Not just because of the success, but because of the journey I went on with those girls. Yeah. Some of them they come to my games now. Butler and Ford and Maggie Morrison. First coach of the year, I get the award. I get the first thing, the present, big popcorn tin and I'm like, who sent me this? Now, Ford and Maggie, like, Coach, we are so proud of you. We knew it all along. We love you. Can't wait to come up and support you. Like, they were a special group for me. I loved coaching them. And so, Cuse, again, that was magic. And the only team that stood in our way was just as an experienced team, and they just so happened to have the best player in the world at the time, Breanna Stewart, again, a senior, and we hit them at the wrong time, and at that time they were just a little bit better than us. But again, wouldn't trade it for the world. It was a special run.
And for that to be your first season at Syracuse, how incredible to see that, experience that, be a part of. Like, you will forever be a part of the first Sweet 16, the first Elite Eight, the first Final Four, and the first championship run that Syracuse had. And they did it all in the same year, set all of those precedents in that year. So for that to have been your first year at Syracuse, what did it do for you? How did it energize you? Could it energize you any more than I know that you inherently already are, because you bring that energy all the time? So what was that like? And to know that you'll always be a part of it, what did that do for you as a coach?
Well, first and foremost, I was very thankful that, Coach Q brought me home back to New York from the West Coast. So I've been dying to get back home, and he believed in me enough to give me that opportunity. And then I was smart enough to shut my mouth and sit on the sideline and really learn from him and Coach Reed, because I was a man-to-man coach. I wasn't. We didn't do a whole lot of pressing at most of my schools. We just did a little bit of zone pressing. But the things I learned defensively from them, especially the zone and the pressing packages, the schemes, it really molded me as a coach. And I used that here. I had to put the 2-3 zone in here, and I wasn't going to. But thank God I did, because we won 7 games because of it at the end straight. And if I didn't have that, everyone throws a 2-3 zone together. But if you were at Syracuse and you got to study the Boeheim, and then Q morphed it into fitting women, his talent, that is a different kind of zone. It's different. And I really gained that knowledge. And having that ability, it helped me as a head coach for sure. But then also just that run, that it ignited a spark in me again, that's what you want to taste. Q always talks about the confetti falling on his head, and you gotta believe it to achieve it. And I know you can do it now. I know. And what we did with that team, as far as making them believe and instilling that, and having a passion, and a course, a plan, that's what I learned that year. They gave me so much just from an opportunity standpoint. But then I really, really took heed in what they were doing. Sometimes you just show up and you're going through the motions, and this is my job, and I'll just do player development and I'll recruit. But I really studied what they were doing behind the scenes. And even though it wasn't mine, it was theirs. That's when you grow as a coach, is when you steal from people, and you learn. And that's what that year taught me. I took a lot out of that 1 year. It was amazing.
And that's so incredible. And I want to let people know that I disappeared from the screen twice, because the only time that my dog ever needs to go outside is when I'm doing something. So, so that is why. But to speak of brackets, my bracket that I filled out during the bracket unveiling show that we did at Pizza Man Pub, I wrote all the teams in myself. And so I did the whole thing here. And I would like to tell you, Tammi, that if the world was my Midwest bracket, I would be a genius. Now, my South bracket is trash, okay? I had North Carolina going to the Final Four. They did nothing. So, I want to congratulate Oral Roberts on their 2 wins. 15 seed.
What an incredible story. I mean, that's why right now the parity in men's basketball, and there's a lot of other factors. It's not just parity, but, going out of quarantine and maybe things happen. There's so many other things that coaches are dealing with during this specific NCAA tournament that really anything can happen.
Yeah.
You really have to have the luck of your Irish a little bit with talent, because the men's bracket alone is always exciting. But this year, coaches are dealing with a lot. You have no idea what's going on. And so it makes it even more exciting. But those games, like, are you kidding me? Like, you're like, we're done. 14 seed, 10, really? And so it's just been incredible. It does. It really, really makes it exciting. I think a little bit, that's why people enjoy the men's tournament much more so than the women's, because they go, I'm going to wait till the Sweet 16. It doesn't matter. Why do I need to watch UConn beat, High Point by 50? Why do I need to watch Stanford be up 25 or 20 in the first quarter on Utah Valley, when I can catch real good competition starting at the Sweet 16 level, or the level of, the field of 32. And so where the men is completely different. From jump, you want to watch, because anything can happen. So I think that's the difference. And that's what makes the men's tournament so exciting. It really does.
8 seeds, 11 seeds, 14 seeds, 13 seeds. It's been incredible. My Midwest bracket, as I stated, you can see the Midwest right there. Loyola Chicago. I said, I don't bet. And I told my mom, I said, I don't bet against Sister Jean. I just don't. I can't.
Why would you? Why would you? She's ruined so many brackets. You better believe in Sister Jean. Ride the wave.
And in my bracket challenge, the Wake Up Call bracket challenge, with so many awesome people and of course Syracuse fans, I'm second only to Jim D'Elia of Pizza Man, where I did the bracket unveiling, ironically. But Loyola Chicago and Syracuse, I believe that Loyola could get out of this. I believe Syracuse could get out of it. I also cover the American, and I cover Houston. Houston is the #1 rebounding team in the nation. Syracuse beat the #2 rebounding team in the nation in North Carolina in the second to last game of the regular season. But having to play Houston, who gutted it out, and then Loyola Chicago being in here, like, it's so hard for me because I want Sister Jean, and then I want to see my hometown as a fan. And so I'm like, how do I bet against the woman that acts like my one grandmother, looks like my other grandmother, and is just a friggin' queen? And I said, you don't bet against Sister Jean. There is, and you can say this as a coach. You can coach all you want, work out all you want, train all you want, look at everything you want on film. But the spirit of a team and the inspiration of a team can be seconded by nobody. And Sister Jean, to anybody that knows anything about God and love and reality, when you saw them get in the tournament, the mindset in my head was, listen, this team is going to win some games because of her. They're going to play because this 101-year-old fan that loves them so much is sitting there in the wheelchair, and when they look over, she's going like this to them. Like, you can't underestimate that as a coach. I mean, and speak to that spirit, inspiration. You said that on the run to the championship game. You told those girls, like, you guys got to believe you can do this. There is no substitute, and there is no amount of work that can take the place of spirit.
No, and again, fan, you have no idea. Well, some fans, they probably played, but momentum, it builds and energy builds, and the more you have, the more you believe. And suddenly, so you got Sister Jean, who this whole thing it starts with, right? And now everyone jumps on the bandwagon. You got all this momentum, and the kids feel it. The coaches feel it. The players feel it. It's this unbridled energy, like a flame, a fireball. And it's hard to stop, and it's hard to match. And so it's immeasurable. You can't put, there's no analytic that can measure that.
Yeah.
It's like the heart. It's like there's no analytic that can measure Rocky. We can measure, Apollo and all these guys, and they're doing all this fancy training. There's some intangibles are immeasurable, and that's what they've got. Now, we talk about Houston first. If you make shots, there are no rebounds to be had, baby. So, buddy, you making shots, there's no rebounds to be had. Now they got some offensive rebounds that they can put back, but when you're scoring with teams, it's a different story. And I think that Syracuse has found that rhythm offensively. And I do believe they can get through Houston. I do. Again, I think they have momentum. I think they're starting to build that belief. And they got nothing to lose. And that's a dangerous thing. They weren't even supposed to make the tournament. You have everything to lose. We got nothing. Let's play free. And when there's no more dangerous player than someone who just doesn't care. Yeah, I'll shoot this shot. What do I got to lose? You got that freedom as a player. Oh, it's fun. But you get that tightness, like we got him. That's not fun. And so I think that Cuse is hitting that ride. They're hitting that stride. And even though, I want those two forces to come head to head and meet, but I think Syracuse gets past Houston. And then now you throw God in the mix and momentum, and I just don't know. That's a free for all. And I'm not picking one or the other. I'm just showing up for that one. I'm a fan. I told you I crumpled my bracket up and threw it away.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's my I'm like, either way, I was like, my hometown, Sister Jean. Like, you know what I mean? It's like Buddy, who I'm very close to, and this team, you know, I mean, Jim and I have gotten to spend a lot of time over the last 10 years. Adrian, same, Alan, Jerry, like Brad Pike. So the whole staff. So to look at all of that on that side and my hometown on that side, and the respect of just being a kid and 1 year old, you know, knowing about Syracuse to 35 now and being broadcasting for more than half my life. And then on the other side of it going, I know that woman. That woman reminds me of my grandma. You know, that woman, like I said, she acts like G Mama, looks like my Gammy, and she's so exciting. So I'm like, like, she reminds me of like my grandmother being in the stands, or my grandmother would look at me and go, look at me. I don't care what anybody says. You look at me. And when I told her, so I said, Grandma, I'm going to the game. I turned the game on for her, and I would go, and she's like, you're going to the Dome? I said, yeah. She goes, wear something so I know where you are. She goes, wave. And she would always sit and watch the game and look for, I didn't see, I'm looking for you. And, you know, so I mean, to me, there's something about Sister Jean that I didn't deny when I started this, you know, filling out this bracket. And there's something about Syracuse I don't deny as well. And that Syracuse-Houston matchup was one of the hardest things for me to decide, because I respect Houston. I respect Syracuse. So there's a lot to be said. But when push comes to shove, if it's Loyola Chicago and Syracuse, the world has won. If you put Gonzaga on the other side, and one of these, if Loyola Chicago or Syracuse makes the Final Four and Gonzaga's on the other side of it, I'm like, God, it was worth the year wait. That's all I have to say.
Yes, I feel the same way, exact same way. And that's one team. I mean, I absolutely respect and love Gonzaga. I mean, I don't care if they're undefeated or not. I absolutely love what they do, how they play, everything about them. I respect to no end. That is beautiful basketball. It really is. And they do it day in and day out. This isn't, oh, suddenly we're making a run. And no, we did it from day one. And there's something to be appreciated about sustaining greatness for a whole year.
Yeah.
And so they get to the final. You know, in my mind, they earn that. They deserve to win it. They really do. They really deserve. This isn't a one-trick pony. We didn't just show. No. We got here all year long. And that's where when people like that lose in the final, they get to the championship game, they go undefeated, and then they lose. I feel it for those kids, because they did it day in and day out. And we, as players and coaches, you know how hard it is to go undefeated. I don't think people do. It is really hard when you're the best and people every day give you their best shot and then you go undefeated. And so to get there and lose, it's devastating. Devastating. I can only imagine what those boys would go through. So I'm secretly cheering for them, because I respect the hell out of that program. My God, they're fantastic.
Yeah, you know, I mean, and I remember listening to, like, watching Gonzaga and Butler, and what I used to do in school, my Catholic school growing up, I had a Walkman. I had a blue one, and it's the crazy thing. The batteries have been in it for over a decade, and they still work, because everything made back then is better. It's all better. So, because now they make things to break because they want us to keep buying stuff. And,
exactly.
Right? So I got the Walkman. I still have it, and it's blue, and I had it on my hip, and I ran the cord up through my back and my dress shirt, and I put the buds in. And I remember in English class, I had a substitute teacher, and he was a brother in the church, and he was sitting in front of me, and we were all quiet, and he was really cool and chill and relaxed, whatnot. And I'm listening to Butler, and it was the shot that they made when they, like, the guy elevated to the basket at the end, hit the layup, and they win by, like, I don't know, 1 or 2. So I'm listening to this game, and I'm kind of like telling people, like, yeah, it's this, you know, it's this score or whatever. And I don't have an inside voice when I'm excited or something like needs to come out. That's kind of a lot of the comedy of it. So I'm listening, and I'm like, wow, I'm getting away with this. And I'm kind of like this the whole time, doing my work. And he hits the shot, and I yell out in the middle of class. Total silence, yell out. And the coolest thing this brother said, he was the greatest ever. He leaned into me and I'm like, I got detention. Like, I know I got detention. He leans into me. He goes, hey, what's the score? And I was like, yeah. So like, didn't get in trouble. He loved it, appreciated it. But my favorite part of March Madness was when the teacher, Mrs. Jacks, 5th grade, I still talk to her, Our Lady of Pompeii, she would wheel in the TV and go, if you're all are quiet, we can watch the game. So that's running the buds up my shirt to listen to it. Those are my favorite parts of the tournament, was trying to literally listen or watch the tournament all day long in school without getting a detention.
Well, that's what all like real players did. And then also work. People like, oh, I'm sick this week. Oh, I got the strep throat. Oh, I got, because all you want to do is sit home on your couch and just flip through and just watch game after game. And only the cool teachers and the real cool bosses would be like, hey, we got it on in the office. We got it on in the classroom. Let's go. And I've heard stories about that it doesn't, the kids are all, now they got iPhones. They're watching anyway. What kind of work are you going to get done? Just wheel the TV and come on. That's class today. So it's funny. Everyone has those stories of the lies you told so you could stay home from work and watch the games, or, secretly watching on your iPhone underneath the table, your desk, while all the teachers are trying to teach your lesson. So it's hilarious.
And the me today would go back to the me back then. And like, they're like, what would you do differently? I'm like, I would just go back and high five myself, be like, brother, I don't care if you got 19 detentions. It was worth every, and I never got one because I was a good kid. So if I got in trouble for that, the teachers are like, he doesn't bother us. He doesn't get in trouble. He doesn't do anything. I remember having a full beard, had never shaved. And I'm in this Catholic school and you couldn't even have like a shadow. And I had like full hair, brown hair on my face. And this kid walks up to our vice principal, Mark DeSalvo. He was really strict. And he was always nice to me and I was always nice to him. And so I walked by him, nothing. This kid, George, comes up and George starts talking to him. And George has like some peach fuzz and George got in trouble. And so he got in trouble before and whatever, hanging out with some kids. And so he's talking to me, looking in my eyes, full beard. And he goes, oh, George, da, da, da. And I'm wondering, like, is he going to give him a detention? And he's like, George, nice to see you. He talks to him for a bunch of minutes. And then he goes, by the way, you need to shave. So go get a razor and I'll see you at detention. And he goes, Dan has a full beard. He has a full beard on his face. And Mark looks right at me and he goes, oh, wouldn't you know? Have a good day, Dan. And he walks away. And I was like, so it's like those moments, but like I did that through Catholic school my whole life. I was buds in my ears, calling my day, calling my parents going, what's the score? My parents going, are they letting you watch the game? Like, you live in Syracuse. How could this teacher, and if you were on the list of teachers that didn't let you watch the Syracuse games, like that list was a list of like, when God comes for the second time, those people are on that. You know what I mean? Like, there's some trouble.
Oh yeah. That's funny. Yeah, when you're a good kid, you get away with murder. You just do. They never, great grades, you could be a devil behind the scenes, but you just get away with murder because you never do anything wrong. So they cut you some slack. That's just human nature in general.
Yeah.
That's why I tell kids, just act right, be right, and you'll be fine. But that's funny. That's hilarious. I thought I would have been like, yo, you're talking little peach fuzz right here. You got Wolfman standing across from you. Really?
And he literally said so. Like, and he was like, do you want worse than that? Like, he was going to punish him more. He's like, keep going, George. And I'm sitting, and then he looked at me, kind of leaned in after everybody, and he goes, like, just like shave within the next couple days, like just to kind of make me look good. You know what I mean? Like,
wink, wink. Come on, man.
Just go shave for like a minute. But yeah, I mean, it was cool. Do you have a story? Do you have like in school hiding something to listen to? Do you have like a crazy story about when you were like paying attention to the tournament or you called in sick or something like that?
Dude, you're acting like we had cell phones back in.
I was saying, did you sneak out of school like I did when you had to run the mile? And I'm like,
you don't even want to know. no, Dan, you don't even want to know the things I used to do. Like, I was valedictorian of the high school. I was honor society president. I was this best athlete in the state, 2-time state champion. So you don't think I got away with everything? I got away, like, you don't even, from 6th grade on, my wild oats were sowed by 9th grade. I mean, literally. I was on varsity basketball in 8th grade.
Yeah.
I was hanging out with seniors in 8th grade. I was going to proms in 8th grade. I'm in 8th grade. What do you think seniors did? So my stories are, I'm not even allowed to say these things on the podcast. So, and we didn't have cell phones. You had a pay phone. So when you needed to go home and you were sick, you had to run to the hallway and use a quarter and call on a pay phone. There was no technology.
Yeah.
There was no cell phones. There was no pagers. There was no beepers. There was nothing. And it was a good thing because no one could videotape anything. So you never got in trouble. And there was no proof of anything. And you spent your life hanging out with friends, not on your cell phone 24/7. So those were the good old days. And, so when we were in school, and back then we only had like 8 stations. There wasn't even cable.
Yeah.
You didn't have coverage like this, especially the women. When I was growing up, only one game was televised. And that was on CBS, the national championship game. Every game televised, never happened. It didn't happen last year. They did 360 coverage on spot games. So really, the men were the only thing that mattered back then. And even back then, they didn't get the coverage they got now. So you're talking old head history, like it was like bedrock. We were writing on tablets. We were doing cars with our feet. That's when I grew up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just have bad stories of me in general. There are no sneaking around. We had really cool teachers that loved basketball. They had it on in their classrooms.
Yeah.
Put the games on.
And I love that. I love that you said bedrock, and it made me immediately think, obviously, of the Flintstones, but also to think of one of the greatest shows that doesn't get the respect it deserves, which is Fraggle Rock.
Oh.
Fraggle Rock
True.
is.
See,
Go ahead.
I was a Muppets. This is how old I am. Like way before Fraggle Rock, it was the Muppets. And now the Muppets have a disclaimer before the Muppets are even shown.
Yeah.
That there may be some offensive. I mean, really, we're censoring the Muppets now. Like, really? Like, oh my God. So that's funny. You say Fraggle Rock, but that was when I was much older. We had the Muppets.
I had the Muppets. I had Fraggle Rock. I had all the good. I mean, I had Dr. Seuss before he got canceled.
Yeah, there you go.
So, but you talk about the discrepancy back then, and unfortunately, Tammi, when you were growing up and I was growing up, it still happens. It's still happening. You're a women's basketball coach at the D1 level, and it's still happening. What was your response when you saw the Oregon player put up a tiny little, and obviously, whenever you see something on the internet, you kind of I at least try to dive into it. I want to learn more because you can make things look a certain way, but she shows the weight room. She shows the guys' weight room in men's D1 basketball for the tournament. She shows the women's D1 tournament weight room, and it's not a weight room. It's just a stack of little tiny weights. Like, oh, that's cute. What was your reaction?
Well, I'm like you. I really wait till again, Twitter, all the social media can get you in trouble like that. Everyone has to comment right away, like without even knowing the situation or knowing. So first and foremost, you're like, is this for real? And then I did know it was for real because in the handbook, and not many fans know this, they give out a handbook to every team before they come. Procedures, protocols, it's like this thick, right?
Yeah.
And because they were trying to set up, it's a crazy setup, right? Men and women, different locations, a lot to get done, especially with this pandemic.
Yeah.
So in the handbook, it said, we will not have a weight room, a good facility in which your kids can train until the Sweet 16. It says it in the handbook. Did you know that?
I didn't.
No.
I didn't.
So most coaches didn't either, because you never read the handbook. Your director of operations reads the handbook. What do I need to know? Just fill me in, because I don't have to. I got to do this and this. Everyone's scrambling, right?
Yeah.
But that is not a reason. The men had a weight room from jump because it was very important. And everyone knows it's very important, especially when you're coming out of a 2-day quarantine. You got to be able to get these kids training again a little bit, bodies moving, some preventative stuff, and you need adequate facilities, correct?
Yeah.
All the teams do, not just the final 16. So again, if you're planning and we're doing A, B, and C for the men, let's make sure we do from jump A, B, and C, because they're both athletes, whether they're men or women, it does not matter. Just if it's being done for the men, in this climate of nowadays, with all the social injustices that are going on and the discrepancies and the discrimination, and the list goes on and on, correct?
Yeah.
I would say, wait a minute, look, we've got to make sure at least it's on the same level from jump. And I know it's a lot, and I know we're shorthanded, and I know we're scrambling, but you can't do that. You can't, and then you can't knowingly put it in the handbook that, look, we know we can't do it. We're just going to do it at the level of 16. Then why didn't you do that for the men? You know why? Because you can't. Because the men, they know what they need to be successful, and they're the big money maker. I mean, let's be real. Let's bring the elephant out of the room. That tournament has to happen because we have to have that money. You have to.
Yeah.
And so we give them everything they need to be successful. Now, you do that, you have to know, in today's climate, that's not going to fly. And then they got caught with their pants down. And I felt very sorry for Lynn Holman, who had to go on, and she's a woman. And she's not the head of the NCAA. They kind of put her on, stuck her out there, and I felt bad for her. I thought she was going to cry, and she apologized greatly for the injustice. And I think they did it on purpose. They said, here, let's throw a woman to the wolves. So she gets it. Mark Emmert should have been the one making the announcement. You are the leader, the big leader. Everything trickles down. That was scapegoat to me. And I didn't think that was right. And so obviously we all know that was a grave injustice, that you should have had adequate facilities.
Yeah.
And then, someone brought it to the attention. They brought a lot of things to the inequities that go on between the two tournaments, and they have for years. It looked like an Oscar swag bag versus, when you register for a 10K and you get that bag and it has a water bottle and a t-shirt and a keychain and a towel.
Yeah.
And the Oscars grab bag has, the layest iPhone with the GoPro and Tiffany's jewelry. And I mean, that's always happened.
Yeah.
When we went to the Final Four, perfect example. Our SWA at Syracuse had complained our gifts compared to what the men got, because you get a gift for being a participant. And it was like, it just was a grave inequity. Here's a little keychain and the men get, and then they actually gave us better gifts. But, I just thought, again, just knowing today's climate and Title IX and just put them at least on the same level playing field from things that are important to an athlete.
Yeah.
Preparation to prevent injury and get the body moving so you can perform at your optimal level. Whether you're a man, woman, it doesn't matter. You need that. Adequate food to, nourish the body, not processed, not good food that will give these athletes the chance to perform at the highest level, and make each protocol the same for men and women. I'm not big in I'm old school. I think you need to earn what you get, but as an athlete, you need to have level playing fields. You can't have them over here. And I know they're the moneymaker. I get it. But that's why we have Title IX. And that's why we have, they're athletes in the end. They're athletes. And so I'm really caught up in that.
Yeah.
I want my athletes to have the same chance to perform at the highest level. I'm not always caught up in the swag and I don't think like a coach, yes, I want my athletes to get, but I don't get caught up in that stuff. But, I knew that kids were because that's our generation. Wait a minute. Look. And it happened in the WNBA and the NBA this summer. That's where you should have learned. The NBA staying at, it looked like a 5-star resort. And then you got the WNBA staying in a couple of hotels that there was dead bugs and roach infested. And that went on the internet. And all of a sudden those girls got moved and they had to apologize and we're so sorry. It should have been. And then we make the same. Did we really grow and did we really learn?
Yeah.
And that's where I was just like, I kind of was shocked when I found out the truth. Like, wow, you thought that was going to be all right with players and coaches, and you put it in the handbook. We won't have weights till the Sweet 16. And that's when the coaches really should have said, wait a minute, now we need something better than that. Because half the teams, they're just going to show up and they wouldn't have trained.
Yeah.
So I was disappointed. I think we all were, but at the same time, we need to get better and grow. And attacking anyone, look, they acknowledged it, but we got to start learning. You can't just say I'm sorry and acknowledge it, and then 6 months later do the same mistake. And I thought we learned this summer. I know I did. Like, God, you can't make this mistake again. And I know the NBA again is the moneymaker, right? They earn those salaries, they get those things, but just accommodations, food, the basic necessities that you need to be a great athlete. I'm not going to stick these kids in a roach infested motel when the guys, no, we got to do better than this. And I thought we would have learned about all these things that we're trying to make changes with, especially this summer. And that we'd really focus on that. And I was disappointed in that it felt like we didn't learn a thing at all, any of us, especially those, and you're in charge of student athletes. And again, their mission statement is all about the student athlete welfare.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's really important. It's really important. And I was disappointed, but again, we need to grow from this and we need to learn why these same things keep occurring and take heed in that and make sure it doesn't happen again.
And it's so well put because, the welfare of the student athlete, they talk about the student athlete. It's about the health of the student athlete. It's all about the student athlete. We got to take care of the student athlete. But at the end of the day, it doesn't feel that way. You could say whatever you want to say. I mean, you could say, I want to be a great husband, a great wife, and go home and beat your spouse. I mean, it's knowing. The saddest thing about it is when I saw the video, I wasn't surprised at all. And that's something that hits me a certain way, is like, it doesn't surprise me. But like you said, if we live in a world where, there were no cell phones and there was no going live on the internet, the WNBA would still be in a roach infested motel. If there was no internet and nowhere to go to talk about this stuff, the women's weight room would still be a bunch of little tiny weights that are cute for like an ant to pick up and nothing else. So, it's like, yes, people use social media in a bad way and people over sensationalize things, but there's also the notion that we can use it for change. Are you happy about it? Because I'm kind of pissed off that the only reason why anything changed was because somebody put it on the internet. Like, I'm upset that it didn't change because it was wrong. It changed because it's not, basically, they weren't mad at the sin they committed. They were mad that they got caught.
Well, because I know they had a coaches meeting and an administrators meeting that night. Because I think enough coaches were complaining. Strength coaches started complaining ASAP, like our kids are coming out of quarantine. There's nothing, like nothing.
Yeah.
How are we gonna? You can't just get it from practice. They need certain things, and so they were going to complain anyway. Now, why did they change? Because they got caught, and it got the publicity, which media loves. I'm just telling you, Sports Center has become, let's get their TMZ now.
It's got nothing to do with the games anymore.
Let's break the best story, Deshaun Watson, and let's give all the juicy D. It literally, because of the sensationalism. And so when Sedona Prince released that video, I knew a trainer already had released it, and I knew coaches were already in the works to get a meeting with the NCAA to make it happen. Now, then after the weight room, then they started with the food videos, and then they started with the swag bag videos, and then they started, and they just kept going. And it does incur change because it embarrasses the NCAA and the public now, and then it makes ESPN news. But my question is this, just like you posed, we've been fighting these inequalities. This isn't the first year. It's been years. It's been decades. And so is it changing because they want it to change, or is it changing because of they're getting caught and so many people are in an uproar? And does it take that, like we talked about this summer, all the discrimination and all the injustices that were going on?
Yeah.
Did it change? No, it hasn't changed. It's been going on for years, but it become really aware when you started watching those videos and it was getting caught. And now we have to do something. We can't let this happen anymore. And so you would hope that they would have made a change without that. I don't know. I know it was in the works that they had a meeting, but once it hit those videos and people become aware and it becomes news stories,
yeah,
then they have to do something. So I was hoping that they were going to do something anyway without that. Like, look, we're not happy about this. And the coaches and the strength trainers and the administrators would have had a united front and made that change. But would they really have made an apology and done all the things they had to do?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't answer that question. But I know in prior years, no. The same injustices keep occurring. We keep repeating history. So maybe that is what's needed. I don't like it. If I was at the Final Four, I'd hey, don't be doing personal, this is just my rules. We're not going to do this. If you guys come to me as a team, then we're going to do something about it. We're going to go to higher ups.
Yeah.
But it almost becomes like, how many views can I get? And I know they have the right. Look, I want to make change. I want to be a part of the change. So I get it. But it also becomes sensationalism. Like, you're taking away from the tournament and our team. And now it's how many views and all these interviews, and you need less distractions during this time of the year, not more. And so it's a very delicate situation as a coach, because the kids are such activists nowadays. But it can also be viewed as the other way around. It could become a detriment to your team. And now you're focused on all this other stuff. Then, hey, we're here as a team to win games.
Yeah.
Let me do the external stuff as a coaching staff. Let us handle all that, media, this. Now you got kids spending more time filming things than what's important, So it's a very delicate balance. It's a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, you bring up a good point, because you want them to work out, but if they're filming, they're not working out. So it's like you want to find this balance of, okay, you need the amenities, this made the change, but I always look at things, because I believe in God, is like, are you changing hearts, or are you just changing like the situation temporarily? And I don't think we're changing any hearts. I think we're focusing on something, and some people are for the movement, are for equality, you're free quality, I'm free quality. Some people just don't want to get in trouble and they want to look good. Some people want to boost their views and get followers and they want to respond to it so that people will notice them because they don't have any self-esteem. So there's people that will jump on that video and say, let me do it for all the wrong reasons. But then there's people that want actual change, and you don't see the people, like you said, in the meeting rooms. We don't see the people that have gone to courtrooms. We don't see the Title IX fights. We don't see, people that have individually gone and sat with their coaches, sat with the administrators, sat with the chancellors, sat with the deans, gone to the NCAA, sat with Mark Emmert, asked questions, didn't even get an opportunity to sit because he said no. We don't see any of the fight. We just see, like, people talk about Martin Luther King Jr., but what about everybody else? Like, he did it, but there's so many people in history that fought for equal rights that nobody talks about. So there's always people fighting battles that we don't know. And I think the thing is, if we're not changing hearts, we're really not changing anything.
No. And those people that you talk about, especially in women's basketball, the pioneers, they're every day fighting for women's basketball. It's just not the current. They've spent their whole life. And that's where I tell these young kids now, you have no idea. Some of you don't have no idea what Title IX is, and you don't know the history of the game. So you do us a disservice. Those women pioneered the way for you, and you have no idea who they are. And you're just tweeting, TikToking, going, look at this, look at that. No, and they're continuously to this day fighting. Some of the pioneers who were, when women's basketball was nothing, Muffet McGraw, Pat Summitt, Teresa Grants, Vivian Stringer, Tara Vanderveer, Leon Barrymore, Linda Sharp, Billy Moore. You got people from day one who, without them, there would be no women's basketball. And their whole life has been this. And they're behind the scenes, some out in front more so than others, because they have a voice and they still have a platform. And I believe in that. That's why we have freedom of speech. But if you're going to be an activist and you're going to lend your voice to something, then you do it all the time, whether you get notoriety for it or not, whether you're behind the scenes. And then you educate yourself on how to stay persistent to bring about change, and understand the difference. A lot of times it's what's hip and current. And I say this all the time because you can track it. First, we started with the Me Too movement, and everything was Me Too, Me Too, Me Too, Me Too, until it wasn't Me Too. And then the summer came along, and then we had the social injustices and the racism and the discrimination. And then that movement started, and all of a sudden, how much Me Too did you hear?
Nothing. It went in the background.
Completely.
Yeah.
And then something else is going to come along that's going to take, and it can never stop. The fight can never stop, and people don't stop fighting. The true activists who believe in it. And so, that's how I see it, and, Muffet McGraw is one of them. She'll never stop since day one, since she was a player. Some of these people experienced Title IX. It changed their lives. And the current generation needs to respect that.
Yeah.
And just what it means to be an activist. And so I'm proud of them, though, because there are a lot of young women that are, again, in it because they believe in it. They believe in something. And to each their own, how they want to express that. And that's key for me, is your freedom of speech. Some people, it's videos, and it's because that's the only way they know how. Other people, they go about it the back way with meetings. And so to each their own. And as long as you believe in something and you have a platform, and especially nowadays, you no longer have to be silent. You have a voice. And so that's what many of the athletes did. They had a voice and they wanted to express it.
For you, Tammi, before I let you go, Reiss's Pieces, speaking here about a lot of pertinent topics, not just to today, but to yesterday and the day before that. Do you have a moment or two that sticks out to you as a player or a coach in women's basketball where you felt discriminated?
It's funny. I was raised that I didn't need much. I played basketball outdoors in the dead of winter with a crappy rim, and I shoveled my own snow, and I cut my fingers out of my gloves, and I didn't need an air-conditioned gym. I didn't need any of that. I
Yeah.
didn't need the best shoes. And that's in my generation, that's how we were kind of raised. So when I got to Virginia, I didn't go to Virginia because they had, the best gym and the best facilities, and how many pairs of sneakers do I get, and how many. I'm not about the material. It was never about materialistic things.
Yeah.
That's not what makes you a better basketball player. And so when we got there, our locker room wasn't anything. It was just a room. And we showered in community showers, and, it was nothing. We didn't have the best uniforms or anything, but I never noticed it. We were treated equal to the men, though. I will tell you that. And when we started winning, we were really treated equal to the men. I remember our administrators making us feel relevant and important. And the one thing I'll always remember was Coach Terry Holland. He was the head coach of the Cavaliers at the time. Always spoke with us,
Yeah.
gave us whatever practice time Debbie wanted, what was always a part of our program as well, and made us feel equal. And that goes a long way. So I didn't care how many uniforms we had compared to the men, or we ended up traveling private jet, and we had enough, and we won with it. We were very successful. And so I never felt discriminated against. We used the same weight room. It was never a question to me. I never thought twice about it. It was never even brought up. That I can't even remember a time. Now, years later, when I was a coach at certain schools, and I'm not going to name the school, but I can remember our women's basketball team sitting outside, and we were supposed to be in the weight room, and with our strength coach. And I was an assistant coach. I wasn't a head coach. And I said, what's going on? Our head coach is going to be walking out soon. Why are we not lifting? And I was told, well, we can't get in the weight room because the football team's in the weight room. And I was like, what? I said, it was cleared, right? And he was like, yeah, we're supposed to be in the weight room. But they said, listen, you can't come in right now. And I guess it was just the head coach was there. And I'll never forget that. Like, what? Like, our weight room's huge. How come we can't go on this little section that we use? So it was like, all right, we'll train outside without weights, we'll just go on the turf and we'll do something. But it was things like that where you're made to feel unimportant, or irrelevant, or other sports are more important than you, when in your mind you already feel that way. You know the moneymakers, and you're not dumb. Athletes aren't dumb. They know what generates revenue. Football and men's basketball bring in money. It's just the way life works.
Yeah.
And you understand that. But when it's put in the poor kids' faces every day, and they see it, it's one thing for the coaching staff to see it, because we can fight it and we can hide it from them. Because I never wanted a female athlete to feel inferior and put it in their face, like they're told, no, we're here, step aside. And that's the one time where I got angry as a woman. And I got angry that we did everything we were supposed to do. We're supposed to be in there. We scheduled the time, but yet you wanted it, so you kicked us out. And that is the only time I really get upset. And because I tell my kids all the time, because when they leave me, I want them to know you earn what you get. Don't just say, no, we're entitled to it. I should have that.
Yeah.
And just because, no, you got to work hard for what you get. So don't come to me and say, why don't we charter? We don't charter because you haven't won a game in 2 years. So I can't justify spending $50,000 on a plane when we can bus the same amount. And we got to earn that. And I wouldn't feel right. That's just my principle. The school would do it. We're not doing it until you prove to me that you're ready to earn what you get. And they do that. They don't ask for things. I'm teaching them the morality and the value system of come back to earn what you get. Now, I'm not talking about level playing fields. That should just come.
Yeah.
If there's a weight room, it should be the same for men and women. but I'm talking about the extras, the things that you get when you become, really good, and donors want to throw money at you, to be able to give you the best advantages to win. Those extras, you got to earn that. You got to earn having 5 color different uniforms. Why would I give you 5 uniforms? We can't win in the white and the blue. Come on. We don't work hard enough to earn 5 different uniforms. So that's what I try to teach my girls is, yes, there's something that exists as a level playing field that I think men and women should just be, and we should be treated equally. But when you want those other things that certain programs have, you got to really earn that, and you be proud of it. It's like when you buy your first car and you earn your money and you buy that first car, man, you're shining it every day. You're white walling the wheels and you're putting the shine on it. And don't you eat my car. Get out of my, no, we don't do that. But when your parents buy the baby for you, next thing you know, you're eating in there. You're not washing it because you didn't earn it. You almost take it for granted a little bit. And that's what I try to teach my team is I want them to earn things. I want them to be very proud of it. They earn the locker room renovation that we're about to get. You know why? Because the donors and boosters went, my God, that team works hard. My God, they've changed the culture. And suddenly people are going, here's money. And now you guys earn that locker room. They didn't give it to you. And so they're going to treat that locker room like that's mine. I did this. And that's a special thing. And so that's kind of my philosophy on kind of earning things and what should come and the history of the game. For me, discrimination wise, I was never, even at my high school level, ever to felt inferior. The boys I played against let me play with them. They beat me up. They killed me. They treated me like one of them. Like I was just a ball player. I wasn't a girl. My trainer, Mr. T, actually asked me to play on his team my senior year. I don't know if many people know that. He wanted me to play with the boys because he felt like for the next level, averaging 50 points and doing all that, the competition isn't good enough for you, Tammi. You need to play with the boys. You need to get beat up and learn about real competition. And I couldn't do it because I couldn't leave my girls and us not win a state championship. I didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
If I was smart, I should have played with the boys because I needed to get better, especially for my freshman year. But everyone in my life, they always just treated me as a basketball player, even at college. And so I really didn't feel like I was discriminated against until I kind of saw some things as a coach. And being behind the scenes, you see a lot more from administrators to different things on this is a business and how it works. And that's where I started to experience a little bit and see a little bit more of the behind the scenes stuff that, you don't see as a player necessarily.
Yeah, and I think you expanding on that and letting, and talking about that, like to see that other level. And you and I have talked off the air about there are people in power that abuse it. There are people in power that don't get it. And there are people in power that don't care. And so you can't change somebody else. You can't make somebody else do something else. You can't control anything but yourself. But what you can do is you can work hard and diligently at it. You can pray about it. You can do the best you can within who you are, your spirit, your mind, your heart, your body. And, and you can try and be around good people and do the best you can. And I am a firm believer that if you do the right thing and you do it the right way and you keep hitting a wall, God eventually pulls that wall down. And he did that for me in my life within the last couple of days. I was hitting a wall for no reason. And I broke through. And when I broke through, the entire country and potentially the world took all the credit for the question that I asked to the coach that I asked it to. So, it's like, and I'm okay with that because I said that when I went to bed Saturday night, I said, I know it's going to be there. Sports Illustrated, first thing in the morning. Jim Boeheim says, I was like, who asked him that question? That's so cute. But, it's one of those things where I wanted so badly to just have a chance. And when I got the chance, I took it and I asked 2 questions, but he gave me like 7 answers. And it was like God set me up to say, I know you've been trying to ask questions for 2.5 months. So all the ones you didn't get to ask, he's going to answer them all for you. And I got all of them. And I tell you, I got off the phone and I got a little bit choked up because God always comes through. And I just said to him, I was like, hey, if I get a chance, I'm going to take it. I hope I get a chance. I really want to get a chance. And when it finally happened, I said to him, I was like, you gave me the best quote in the few times that I've gotten to talk to him. It's like he's given this elaborate stuff and it's beautiful. And even the guy today, Lakeem Williams, on the show, where I said, I hope it gets through to you guys that I care, that I'm different, that I'm not your typical media. He goes, Dan, you are great at what you do. And I know it. We see it. And so it's hard to see things in power not change. But when people play God, God always reminds you who God is. And I think free will exists, but there's this thing where God, every time I'm like, man, this is so dark, it's so dingy, it's so dirty, it's not right, it's not fair, it's not okay. And somehow, some way, this light just comes flying through and it hits. And I'm like, there he is. So he always comes through.
But see, you know, again, God gave you free will. If you quit, you would have never saw it. You wouldn't have never had that experience. And I tell people are right on the edge and they have no idea. And they give up and they quit. And they'll never know what's about to come. It's not over till you take your last breath. So why quit? Just see it through, because you never know what's going to happen. Yeah. Good, bad, or indifferent. And that's why, you know, you can never quit at your hopes and dreams of things you want to do. You never know, as dark as it gets. And believe me, I'm in a business that every day you could have the high of highs. You get named coach of the year. The next day, all your kids can transfer. That quick. You have no idea. And again, if I were to quit, this is too much. It's too hard. No, that's what makes it great. Because when you finally get the breakthrough, it's what makes it feel 100 times better. Like I can remember when. And it's a journey and it's a process. And I tell that to people. And it could be your job. It could be your love life. It could be your family. It is a journey and a process. Good, bad, indifferent. Everything's going to happen. And you just can never give up, because you never know when it's going to be the time that it all comes together and culminates. And I truly believe that. I will never give up. I do not want to leave the school or quit coaching until we win a championship. And I say it to my kids. We had player meetings this morning already. I can't stop. Like it burns me up to watch this postseason. That's where we should be. That's where you need to be. And I won't stop until we win a championship and you guys play postseason. And not any postseason. You're going to play in the NCAAs. And I will not stop until that happens here. And what if I quit? What if it gets too hard one day? It's years. And I give up and I never do it. No, that's not me. I can't until it's the end. It's not the end. So until I'm done physically and I can't do it anymore, it's not the end. And so I truly believe that there's always a breakthrough. And I was so happy for you when I watched the video, that, you know, you culminated, because you and I talked about this. Don't stop. You'll never know. And as dark as it gets and as upset as you get, and you'll never know, for whatever reason, why things happen. And then I was just so happy and so proud of you to have that moment. And again, realize, like, this is why I do what I do. And then have it, you actually come to light that you finally get the chance. And it was everything and more that you thought it would be. And how good did that feel?
Fantastic.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was so happy for you, brother. I really was. And it was great. It was great. And there's more to come. There's more to come, bigger and better. Yeah. You know, that was just a baby step. What's your next step? What's your next goal? What's your next? And then you go after that.
Yeah. And
so,
you know, we only rise from here. And like Sister Jean at 101, you'll be coaching at 101. I'll be doing 1,000 things, broadcasting.
No, Dan, don't say that. Dan, I'm done. When I hit that retirement age and the kids let me know when it's time and my passion is gone, I won't be coaching when I'm 101. I'll be Betty White in it at 101. You're gonna see me on those damn commercials that you can't get out of your head. Scoop, there it is. You're gonna see me in one of them commercials. Shaka lock. I'm like, oh my God, I can't get any of these jingles out of my head during the half times. Like it's driving me nuts.
Maybe what it should be is what I should have said is at 101, we'll still be doing Reese's Pieces.
Hopefully, I pray we have that longevity.
Yeah, we'll do what we can and we'll make it happen. Tammi Reiss and myself, Dan Tortora, Reese's Pieces, a part of Wake Up Call and a part of your year, a part of your every other week. We're here with you every other Monday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. We'll be back with you in 2 weeks, and we will be right here on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT. And if you need us any other time, you know how to reach us. Tammi, as always, I appreciate you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your positivity, and I love that we celebrate each other's successes and we're there for each other's adversity. It's a true friend, and it's the things that I'm most thankful for in my life. So I thank God for you, and I appreciate you very much. So thank you for that.
Same here, brother. Every day.
I'll talk to you soon. Be good.
All right. Happy March Madness, everybody. Let's go.
Let's go, Loyola Chicago, Syracuse, Gonzaga. If it happens, then I get what I want. So, and you too.
There you go.
And Syracuse, let's take that non-Gino Auriemma UConn and show them what's worth. I want to see that too.
That's right. But really, and look, buddy, I'm praying for you, man. Give me 10 threes one game, just 10. You're going to set the record. I'm dying for this kid and his success, because I know all those naysayers and all those haters that were saying, yeah, they're not saying it now, boy. That kid is doing work, and I tune on just to see him. I swear to God, I love me somebody, and I love to see Jerry on the sideline going, "Yeah, buddy, go, buddy." It's just awesome watching the master and all the year what he's done with that kid, and Eric D. All your work with him. I mean, it's truly paid off, and I'm so happy for that kid. I couldn't be any happier for someone.
No, and he deserves it. And as I told people before, he's not on this team, they don't win 8 or 9 games. And any other place, he's hitting those shots. He got recruited to Gonzaga. He's making it happen. And as Jerry said to him, you're the best player. You're the best shooter on the planet. So keep shooting. So
that's right.
I'm riding with Buddy all the way, because Buddy already knows. Buddy knew 2 years before he got to Syracuse. So I'm riding with Buddy then, now, and always. And I love that no matter what happens, he is even keel and he is always smiling. So
look, I must have left a year early when Buddy wasn't feeling himself. But when he hit that 1-3 and he backpedaled and he looked at that West Virginia guy and was like, "Oh no, not today. It's over. You're done." I'm there. I was like, "Ooh, Buddy's talking trash." I was like, I love it. Yeah, it's the best time of the year to see these kind of stories.
Yeah.
And to see a kid like that get some center stage and really produce when the lights are the brightest. And I'm just so happy for that family. I really am, to see that. And a father and son have that experience. It doesn't happen often. It was a heartwarming story, and that's what makes NCAA basketball so good, is stories like that. So I can't wait. I'm ready. I'm tuned in. I got my popcorn tonight. The games are on my TV right now. I'm like, well, so women are already playing, so I'll catch these games, and for the next couple weeks, it's all about basketball, baby.
Yeah, get to it. And I am so excited, and getting to talk to Buddy and say what it's like to experience it with your dad, when normally your dad's in the stands and he's with you. And he said, "My dad believed in me before I believed in myself." And then Joe did it yesterday. Guy from West Virginia hit the 3, and the commentator's like, "Wow, that was some range." And Joe came down and he was like, "I see you and I raise you." And then he looked at him and I was like, "Oh, get him, Joe." He looked right at him like, "What do you want?" You're like, "You want to go? Let's go. I'll go to half court. Like, I'll meet you there." So when he did that and he looked at him, I was just like, "All right, Joe, we're playing a game today." So I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. It was awesome. That's what March Madness is all about.
It is. So as always, Tammi, I appreciate you, and I'll talk with you soon. And blessing, God bless as always, and stay in touch. And I give my best to you. So you're an incredible human being. Thank you for everything.
Thanks, Dan. Have a great one.
Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.